Hare Krishna everyone, welcome back to Shravanam Diaries podcast. I'm your host Sulalita Devidasi and we are continuing to read The Science of Self-Realization, the book by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 7, Exploring the Spiritual Frontier, and this section is called Saintly Compassion. Prahlada further says, Prayena deva munayah svavi mukti kama maunam charanti vijanena pa rartha nishta naitan vihaya kripanan vimumuksha eko nanyam tvad asya sharanam brahmatonupashyei. Quote, My dear Lord, there are many saintly persons and sages who are very interested in their own liberation. Unquote. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.44. Munaya means saintly persons or philosophers. Prayena deva munayah svavimukti kama. They are very interested in their own liberation. They try to live in solitary places like the Himalaya mountains. They do not talk to anyone. They are always afraid of mixing with ordinary people in the city and becoming disturbed or maybe even falling down. They think, better let me save myself. Prahlada Maharaj regrets that these great saintly persons do not come to the city where people have manufactured a civilization of very hard work all day and night. Such saints are not very compassionate. He says, quote, I am anxious for these fallen people who are unnecessarily working so hard simply for sense gratification. Unquote. Even if there were some point in working that hard, such people do not know what it is. All they know is sex. Either they go to a naked dance or to a naked club or to this or that. Prahlad Maharaj says, Naitan vihaya kripanan vimumuksha eka. Quote, My Lord, I do not need salvation alone. Unless I take all these fools with me, I shall not go. Unquote. He refuses to go to the kingdom of God without taking all these fallen souls with him. This is a Vaisnava. Nanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmatonupashyei. Quote, I simply want to teach them how to surrender unto you. That's all. That is my goal. Unquote. The Vaishnava knows that as soon as one surrenders, one's path is clear. Naivo dvije paraduratyaya vaitaranyas tvadvirya gayana mahamrita magna chitta. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.43. Somehow or other, let them bow down before Krishna. This is a simple method. All you have to do is bow down before Krishna with faith and say, My Lord Krishna, I was forgetful of you for so long, for so many lives. Now I have come to consciousness. Please accept me. That's all. That's all. If one simply learns this technique and sincerely surrenders himself to the Lord, his path is immediately open. These are the philosophical thoughts of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is always thinking about how the fallen conditioned souls can be delivered. He is always involved in making plans in that way, just like the Goswamis. What was the business of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Lord Chaitanya's direct disciples? That is stated by Srinivasa Acharya. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunau Sadharma Samsthapakau Lokanam Hitakarinau Tribhuvane Manyau Sharanyakarau Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajana Nandina Mattalikau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalako. Quote, the 6 Goswamis, namely Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopala Bhatta Goswami are very expert in scrutinizingly studying the revealed scriptures, with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. They are always absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental, loving service of Radha and Krishna. Unquote. Shad Goswami Ashtaka, 2nd verse. With similar Vaishnava compassion, Parikshit Maharaja says to Shukadeva Goswami, quote, you have described the different types of hellish conditions of life. Now, tell me how those who are suffering can be delivered. Kindly explain this to me. Adhuneha mahabhaga yathaiva narakan naraha nanograyata tanme vyakyatum arhasi. Nara means human beings, those who are fallen. Narakan naraha nanograyata tanme. How can they be delivered from their fierce miseries and horrible pains? That is a Vaishnava heart. Maharaja Parikshit says, quote, somehow or other, they have fallen down to this hellish life. But that does not mean that they should remain in that condition. There must be some means by which they can be delivered. So kindly explain that. Shukadeva Goswami replied, Nachedehaiva pachitim yatham hasaha kritasya kuryan mana ukta panibhi dhruvam savai pretya narakan upaiti ye kirtita me bhava tastigma yatanaha. Quote, yes, I've already described the different types of hellish conditions and very severe painful life, but one has to counteract it. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.7. How can this be done? Sinful activities are committed in various ways. We can commit sinful activity or thus make a plan, thinking, I shall kill this man. Either way, it is sinful. When the mind is thinking, feeling, and willing, then there is an action. The other day I was reading in a book that if someone's dog barks at you when you're passing on the road, then that is an offense on the part of the dog owner, according to law. No one should have to be scared by dogs barking, so one should take care of his dog. I read this. It is a law in your country. The dog is simply barking, but it is sinful. The dog is not responsible because it is an animal, but because the owner of the animal has made the dog his best friend, he is responsible by law. If an outside dog enters your house, it may not be killed, but the owners of the dog may be prosecuted. Just as the barking of the dog is unlawful, so when you speak something offensive to others, that is also sinful. That is just like barking. Therefore, sinful activities are committed in so many ways. Whether we think of sinful activities or we speak something sinful, or we actually commit a sinful activity, we're going to stop here for today, and tomorrow we shall continue about what is a sinful activity, how the Lord is within our heart and He is witnessing all of our actions, our minute independence, and how we can become cured of the diseased condition of the material life. So, thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website, shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.